Beloved brothers and sisters in Islam, in this video, we will be talking about the purification of the soul of a believer. As some of you already know, a person in this life is only successful if he develops a strong relationship with his Creator, Allah, and cleanses his heart with good deeds and constant remembrance of Allah. Our hearts and souls are linked together. If you have a bad heart, full of hatred and anger, this will also affect your soul, causing you to be a naturally negative person, which others around you will be able to feel. Allah the Almighty mentions in the Quran, "Shun all sin, open and secret." Indeed, those who commit sin will be punished for what they earn. The reason why sins that are committed in public are much worse than sins in private is because everyone is able to see those sins, and in an authentic hadith, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "All the sins of my followers will be forgiven, except those of those who commit a sin openly or disclose their sins to the people." So it is up to us to ensure not only are we not sinning in private, but we must not completely lose all shyness and arrogantly sin in public in order to purify the soul and heart. As mentioned, our heart and soul will be full of sin if we decide to publicly sin, as they will not be forgiven. Halal is quite clear, and haram is also quite clear. And between the two, there may be a grey area where people may not know, is this halal or is this haram? However, in an authentic hadith, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, also mentions, "Whoever stays away from that which is doubtful has protected himself and his religion, and whoever falls into that which is doubtful has fallen into haram." We can put this in an example to make it clearer to understand. If you wanted to eat some meat from a restaurant, and 10 people tell you that the meat is not really halal, but another 10 people say the meat is halal, you would be in doubt and not sure whether to eat from it or not. So therefore it would be better for you to stay away from it. If you were to leave it, you would save yourself completely, so there is no risk involved by leaving it, and yet by taking it, you are definitely risking your life. This is just one of many examples we could use. However, when it comes to the deen and what Allah has revealed and sent down, there are things that are clear, things that are not clear for some, and the clarity is either one way or the other. However, sometimes there is a debated issue for the things that are not entirely clear. If you are to protect yourself from it, perhaps you will be able to safeguard your deen. Indeed, the limits of Allah are those things He has made prohibited, so we must stay away from those limits when we are unsure of ourselves. If your heart is clean, everything else will be okay. If your heart is dirty, everything else will be dirty. Have you ever seen people trying to advise others and they say, "Don't judge me"? We must never use the term, "do not judge me," in order to run away from advice. And we must not think these types of people are trying to attack us. We must have the best intentions of people, and if someone is advising you from a sin you are doing, you must always thank Allah, as Allah may have guided that person to you to correct you on something you are doing wrong. If sometimes we feel some sort of frustration or anger when we are corrected and advised, then it may show the need of purification of the heart and soul, and we ask Allah to help us purify. However, what is the answer to the big question of how do we purify ourselves? We must take action. You must not think that you can just make a dua and you will suddenly purify your soul. Dua indeed is a part of the purification process, definitely, but it is not the full solution. You must change your whole life, and that's including any bad thoughts or energy you have towards others. Work hard on matters like hatred. Remove that hatred for your fellow brothers in the deen, and have hatred for sin. None of us are sinless. Not one. We are human beings. However, we must hate the sin enough, which will help us stay away from it. If someone saw a Muslim brother drinking alcohol, a bad Muslim would record him and share it around to friends, family, posting it on social media and essentially make a mockery out of him. But a good Muslim will either go to the brother and engage them in reminders and advice with pure intentions. We must learn to hate sin for not just ourselves, but for everyone around us. We must purify our intentions and make sure we are not living to please the people and only living to please Allah. Purify your heart when it comes to your relation with others. We must never ever feel like we are better than others, even if someone sins more than you. They may pray for forgiveness in private and be beloved to Allah more than you. Every single non-Muslim is a potential Muslim, and by the will of Allah, for as long as they are breathing, there is hope for them to change. Thinking this way would help you improve the way you view others if you are someone who struggles with ego and arrogance. If you are someone who has hatred in your hearts for some reason, normally it stems from jealousy. Not every time, but a lot of the times, because Allah has blessed someone with more wealth, with more knowledge, with more acceptance, or perhaps with greater looks. We live in an age of envy. Due to social media, we have access to the little details of millions around the world. This often leaves us feeling envious of lifestyles we see others enjoying, but we ourselves cannot have access to, even though we know that images are heavily filtered and present a distorted image of reality. This does not stop our hearts from feeling envy. Envy is being resentful of what others have and wishing that they would lose that blessing. Sometimes this feeling creeps up on us without us realizing. If we fight back against it, by Allah's will, we will be rewarded. However, if we act upon this feeling and allow it to eat up our insides, then this is haram. Envy ruins our good deeds, which then causes the heart and soul to be poisoned. It leads to hatred and tension. It tears down relationships and breaks families. A remedy for treating envy is to reflect on why we are envious of that person, and then think about who Allah is and how much He has given us. Allah is the most just, and we should be content with His decree. Perhaps we envy one thing about that person, but are unaware of 10 other problems that this person faces. Everything is not always as sweet as it looks. Let us leave this toxic way, and we will feel happier and content, inshallah. Brothers and sisters, do not become jealous of the favors that Allah has bestowed on others just because you don't have it. This is because it will result in a dirty heart. The heart will become unclean and filthy, and it will require cleansing. Pride is also linked with a dirty heart and is also seen as the mother of all spiritual diseases. It is extremely destructive and one of the most difficult diseases to cure. Sometimes we take pride in our wealth, lineage, beauty, power, children, and even our knowledge and worship. There are degrees of pride. Extreme pride and arrogance lead to outright kufr and the rejection of Allah. The victim thinks he has no need for his Creator and attributes all his success to himself. They get lost in the things they are proud of, when in reality Allah is the one who has given them for what they are prideful for and can take it away whenever He pleases. To remove pride, we must recognize our worth. Allah created us nothing, we were nothing, and Allah gave us life. We should contrast this lowly state with the magnificence of Allah, and this should help us remain humble. And when you are in a humble state, it allows your heart and soul to heal from ego and pride. Cleansing of the heart is done through the remembrance of Allah. You need to know the message of Allah in order to have your heart purified. Remember that Allah is with you. Remember that Allah loves you. Remember that Allah is the best of planners and has written the best plan for you. So why feel jealous? Why feel sad? Everything happens for a reason, my brothers and sisters, and this is something you must engrave in your brains. When one understands this, and not only understands but believes in this, he will never feel negative towards themselves or anyone else. Why? Because they understand that Allah is in control of your life, and however your life is for the best and is preparing you in the best of ways. And those who have a pure heart and soul are free from any sort of hatred or envy, as they have mastered what has been discussed in this video. If you have benefited, be sure to share this to others to also benefit and be rewarded for it. Take care, brothers and sisters. See you in the next video.